All right, let's just jump right in. What if I told you that the actual words coming out of your mouth are, quite literally, either building your wealth or cementing your poverty? I'm not talking metaphorically, we're talking about a creative power, a hidden law that shapes your financial reality. That's the powerful idea we're going to unpack together. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. It's a pretty wild thought, isn't it? We're all taught that getting ahead is about hustling harder, budgeting better, or making some genius investment. But what if the whole game is being played on a completely different field? A field where your own voice, your own words, hold all the power. So here's our roadmap. First, we'll look at what's called the real problem behind money struggles. Then we'll get into this mind-bending concept of your word as law. After that, we'll get practical with a daily wealth practice, cover how to stop sabotaging yourself, and finally, wrap it all up by talking about what it means to speak from your true divine identity. Okay, first things first, we have to completely reframe how we even look at this issue. The whole argument here is that financial struggle isn't really about a lack of effort or opportunity, it's about a fundamental misunderstanding of the power we're all using every single day, whether we know it or not. And this really lays it out. On one side, you have the conventional playbook, right? Budgeting, more side hustles, networking, all physical external solutions. But this philosophy says the real problem is spiritual. It's the words we're not even thinking about, our unconscious speech. It's those casual poverty confessions we make, joking about being broke or complaining about prices. These aren't just harmless comments. They're seen as acts of legislating lack into our lives. So, this leads us to the absolute core of this whole thing. The idea that our words don't just describe our reality. Oh no, they create it. They function as powerful, binding commands. The source material calls this spiritual legislation. And just think about what that means. Every time you speak about your finances, you're not just venting or making an observation. You're standing in a spiritual courtroom and issuing a decree, a law that literally commands the universe to rearrange itself to match your words. It's a huge deal. And right here, this is the master key. The phrase I am isn't just a simple statement of fact. It's presented as the password to divine creative power. So when you say I am broke, it carries the exact same creative weight and authority as saying I am wealthy. The universe, in this view, doesn't hear your intention or your circumstances, it just hears the command that follows that sacred password. And this is why this ancient piece of wisdom is so critical. See, this isn't about lying to yourself or living in denial. It's about using a hidden spiritual mechanism. Your voice isn't meant to just report on your current reality. It's the tool you use to command a new one into existence. You're speaking from your true spiritual position, which is seen as being far more powerful than any temporary physical condition. Okay, so that's the big picture theory. It's fascinating, right? But how do we actually take this from being a cool idea to something that transforms our lives? Let's get into the actual practical steps. The practice boils down to this simple but incredibly powerful three-part declaration. First, you declare your source. You're basically reminding yourself you're connected to an infinite, unfailing supply. Second, you declare your flow. You change your identity to someone who just naturally moves through abundance. And third, you declare your freedom. You command any and all blockages to just dissolve. Simple, direct, and powerful. Now, I know this can sound a little abstract, so let's look at a real-world example from the source material. It's about an artist who was looking for funding. She didn't just cross her fingers and hope for a lucky break. Nope. She began to use a very specific, authoritative declaration. And the key words here are consistency and unwavering certainty. This wasn't a half-hearted wish. For 12 days in a row, she spoke this new reality into being as if it were already a done deal. She wasn't asking, she was commanding. So what happened? On the 13th day, an email lands in her inbox, an offer to fund her work for an entire year, a direct, tangible result that the source connects right back to her spoken decree. That's the power we're talking about. This all sounds incredible, right? Almost too good to be true. And well, there is a massive roadblock. But it's not what you think. It's not out there somewhere. The enemy is within. It's all the subtle ways we cancel out our own good work without even realizing it. And this is where most of us trip up big time. You can make these powerful declarations every morning, but then totally wipe them out by complaining about the price of gas at lunch, or making one of those just kidding, kinda, jokes about being poor. See, the universe, according to this principle, doesn't have a sarcasm detector. It just hears the command broke, and it delivers. So what's the root of all this self-sabotage? It's fear. But fear is sneaky. It doesn't show up looking like a monster. It disguises itself as being practical or realistic. It whispers these doubts that sound so logical, so wise, that we actually welcome them in, not realizing they're like a reversal spell, designed to completely undo the reality we're trying to create. So all of this is pointing to one final, really profound shift. This isn't just about learning a new technique you do every morning. It's about stepping into and becoming a completely new identity. And this slide just nails the difference. What's called a victim consciousness speaks about its problems. It's like a news reporter just describing the bad situation. But a royal consciousness speaks to its problems. It's a legislator. So instead of reacting to a huge bill with stress, this mindset speaks to the bill and commands the provision to pay it. It stops hoping for a breakthrough and starts decreeing one. It's a game changer. Ultimately, the core message here is that you carry the very same creative power that brought the universe into being. The whole idea is that you're not here to just sit on the sidelines and watch your life happen to you. You were designed to be an active participant, a co-creator, using the divine authority baked right into your own voice. So I'm just going to leave you with this final thought to really chew on. If your bank account is nothing more than a direct transcript of your most repeated words, your most frequent declarations, if every word is a deposit or withdrawal, what story are you telling right now?